Welcome to my final EDU 210 Module 12 reflection. I'll be looking at activity number 2, which is the multimedia reflection in regards to digital citizenship. We as a class had looked at digital citizenship back within our third week of the course, which explored the ideas of what does it mean to be a digital citizen and how do we pass on these values and appropriate activities and behavior online to students and others. In order to understand what digital citizenship is, we first need to define what digital citizenship is. Digital citizenship is a concept which helps teachers, technology leaders, and parents understand what students, children, and technology users should know in regards to using technology appropriately. Digital citizenship is more than just a teaching tool. It is a way to prepare students and technology users for a society full of technology. Digital citizenship is the norms of appropriate, responsible technology use. Issues with the use of technology. There are many issues with technology, such as students and adults misuse and abuse technology. Furthermore, they do not know what to do or how to act while using a piece of technology, as well as not knowing what is appropriate for technology. All three of these points can tie together. In general, students and adults misuse and abuse technology in the sense that it sort of takes over their lives, or everything they do is posted on the internet. People abuse it in regards to schooling because there are technologies out there that can just do the work for you over learning it yourself, and that's really not accomplishing anything. The same thing goes for not knowing what to do or how to act while using technology, because technology can be used for good or evil in regards to cyberbullying, belittling someone, hacking a computer, or even a government system in that sort of an aspect. But it could also be tying into what is appropriate for technology, because people post pictures or videos or send inappropriate messages or text across different platforms to where various people do not understand the ramifications, consequences, and such for what they do on the internet. And even though they may think this picture or video or message is harmless, it could come back to bite someone in the butt, or even worse, change their reputation, because once something is on the internet, it is hard to get it off of the internet completely. So you really do not have a sense of control or privacy in regards to what is out there. So people would need to be cautious of what they post or put out there on the internet, because who knows whose hands it'll get into or what it could do to a person's reputation, identity, or make them feel down the road. New learning in relation to digital citizenship. Throughout this course, and since Module 3, we've been emphasizing being good digital citizens. In order to be good digital citizens, various people play a key role to teach others, but as well as to own up to their own identities that they portray online. Um, Teachers have a responsibility to educate students in digital ethics and etiquette, as well as what is appropriate use and content for the internet, plus their devices. Teachers also need to lead by example by showing adequate tools, media, and resources on the internet for teachers and students to utilize within the classroom. Since teachers stand in place of the prudent parent, teachers also have the responsibility to monitor their class and students when technology is being used, to make sure it is being used in an appropriate and safe manner. But if it is treated and used irresponsibly, the teacher needs to act upon it to rectify and correct the situation. By the teacher maintaining a good technology policy that encompasses what digital citizenship is supposed to cover, would allow students to understand what is expected of them, as well the goals and outcomes a student should be trying to achieve when utilizing a technology resource, to the point that what they do on the internet does not look bad upon a student or a teacher, and it keeps them in a good standpoint when people look at their social media profiles or other things that one may have revealed on the internet. Educating students to be proper digital citizens is a big task, and it is not something one teacher can do over a year. It takes constant years from teachers, other students, parents, family members, to ensure that students are being proper digital citizens. A proper digital citizen is someone who treats others as they would want to be treated, which is also known as the golden rule, on and off of the internet and technology devices. By teaching students proper digital citizenship, types of content that is appropriate for the internet and what should not be on the internet, and ways to keep a student's dignity and respect intact in person and online, is something teachers will need to educate students on. A lot of people do not realize what goes on the internet stays on the internet, and they don't realize the repercussions can have at the present moment and in the future on themselves, on their family, or other people close to them that it may affect. Teaching students in order to be proper digital citizens also involves showing what is the effects to people who thought this was cool or this is fine to put on the internet, but then it turns out that this is reality. It also shows that when teachers use technology or an internet resource or something of that nature, the tools and how it is being used demonstrates how one is being digital citizen with the proper use of such a technology. Good digital citizenship, though, needs to be practiced on all devices, not just limited to computers. Anything that can connect to the internet has a data plan. You can send a picture, message. So this goes from an iPhone to an iPod to an iPad to a computer to the Apple Watch to the Chromebook, to whatever has some sort of digital capabilities. This type of digital citizenship needs to be practiced on all devices. Now, it is hard to be good digital citizens all the time, but we need to do our best to ensure that we are good citizens, or there's a way to get a message across without harming someone or making yourself look bad as well. So by teaching students good digital citizenship, they also will learn the flaws of other programs. For example, Snapchat. Snapchat stated that, oh, you could send a picture, but it deletes after a few seconds. But it doesn't stop someone from taking a screenshot or going through your phone and just putting the extension back on the photo, because the photo still technically exists somewhere. So people may send incriminating photos or photos they don't want others to see, where they're on the presumption this is safe, but yet it is not really, because the photo has a way to be captured and spread amongst others if it is the wrong type of photo or message that should not be in the hands of somebody else. There are other things that there are some websites where you can have like talks with strangers, but you don't really know who these strangers are. You could video chat, but there's a lot of risky resources and tools out there that students are coming across, such as Omegle and stuff. But students and teachers need to take precaution all the time when using some sort of digital device, because there are things that people aren't aware of that could happen. Strangers gain your trust. They imitate to be someone else, and then you confide in them or do whatever, but yet this person is trying to victimize you, and things like that. So proper education needs to be done to ensure that we can at least educate people on how to be safe on the internet and good digital citizens. Other new learnings within relation to digital citizenship is, before this course, I'd always been rather careful of what was put on the internet. Sometimes we all make mistakes and, post something or send a message to someone that one may regret, such as using swear words on the internet. Some people find that offensive when you don't really think how other people feel. One may think, well, you added me on Facebook, so if you don't like it, you can remove me. Sort of tough luck buttercup sort of a thing. But furthermore, it comes to the point that with how fast technology is changing and developing, no one knows where it is going to lead to down the road. But once it is out there, it is always out there, and you want to develop that online reputation of a good person, a kind-hearted person, and a good digital citizen, so that it reflects upon one person in real life, that this person is a good person in person and online. People realize we all make mistakes, but sometimes some things people may post may not land someone a job, a career, a profession, get into medical school, law school, or any school for that matter. It is just something we as teachers in the future need to ensure students are aware of what is acceptable, what is not, and what are the repercussions and consequences there are, in order to teach and educate students appropriately, but as well as what we need to do. All of this, digital citizenship, the term, roles one could play educating students, it's not something that really was exposed to me. This module in theory was a whole new learning, but in essence we all were trying to be good digital citizens and have appropriate content on the internet today and before this course, But when you see younger siblings or friends or just other people's Facebooks or other social medias in general, you could say, I wouldn't really want this in my Facebook because, or I don't know if I want to be associated with you because of this, or whatnot, because who you associate yourself online and offline with, people can sort of judge your character as, oh, you're friends with this guy. This guy looks sort of a punk, a thief, someone who's, not really someone who has this group of friends we want to fit in. So, yes, people use it to judge people. Yes, people use it to learn about people. But if we all have a positive profile and online identity, it will be better for oneself and all to procure a good identity and reputation. How learning about digital citizenship affected me as a future teacher. Teachers need to lead by example. They're at the front of the classroom guiding the knowledge of students around them with the support of, the other students within the class, as well as colleagues and other people out there, such as guest speakers that may come into the classroom. When we lead by example in regards to digital citizenship, it refers to demonstrating how one uses technology in regards to the tools and applications one may utilize in the classroom with the students, or even sending an email home. Emails, for example, should have a greeting, not just to the point. For example, I hope this email finds you well today, or good morning so-and-so, how are you today? And then you get on with the email, and then close the email off is, I look forward to hearing back from you if you need a response, or if you have any troubles opening the email or the attachment, please let me know and I'll resend it to you. Have a wonderful day, and then your name. Leading by various examples shows students what is appropriate as well as what would be expected upon them. This affects me as a teacher in regards because teachers are held to a higher standard within society. Our job just does not stop when we leave the school. We always need to lead by example, online and offline, because while we may try and mask our social identities or media or profiles from students have the ability to find them. They could potentially follow you. So what one does on the internet and what one does in life, could come back and cause turmoil in a teacher's life. So by ensuring we act appropriately inside the classroom, outside the classroom, online, and demonstrate this proper and appropriate attitude and expectations of ourselves and others of how we would use these technologies and govern our lives in general, would demonstrate to students a good positive role model for the use of technology and outside of the classroom. Another way, digital citizenship has affected me as a teacher was, one really needs to monitor one's own actions while using digital technology. In theory, though, you need to always monitor your own actions, whether you're using technology or not. But, the reason for this is your actions portray who you are, and if you can't control yourself or put emotions aside or be political or govern oneself accordingly, it could destroy one's reputation or lose their career in that aspect. So we need to, especially as teachers, ensure we monitor what we do online, what we post, and how we post it, because an image one may post on Facebook, the teacher may deem as appropriate, but if it found parents' hands, and they viewed it in a different way, it could cause controversy, to where now you need to sort of, as a teacher, fight for your life and fight for your career, because an image that once seemed harmless, was harmful to someone else in the way they viewed it. I personally knew that we need to monitor our own actions while using technology or in life in general, but what I didn't really know is how a teacher's actions on the internet or using technology could be so harmful to them, or why it was, or how it was viewed by the public. So that is sort of how it affected me as a teacher. Is from this point on, sort of speaking, is to continue to monitor and improve one's online image, and hone down the content one has on there. So if you have photos that of you partying, getting drunk, or even vomiting with alcohol beside you, one may want to remove those photos off of social media. I'm not saying I have those photos, because I don't drink, but it's an example that those type of things would never look good on a teacher, because your image and ethics start to get into question in regards to that aspect. So that is how learning of a digital citizenship has affected me as a teacher. I sort of learned what is more expected of teachers in regards to digital citizenship of ourselves, but as well as what we need to do to help students and others become proper, good digital citizens, as explained in the previous slide, because they need to be educated just as well as other people, because people tend to abuse technology and not know what is actually appropriate for it or how to properly use the technology in that sort of an aspect. So it's affected me to govern myself more accordingly, and to check and check again and continuously check to make sure what is on the internet that I post, that others post, that may tag me or reference me in is appropriate, because now it's not just me that has to ensure my identity is acceptable, that my profile is acceptable, is that other people are respecting myself and my wishes on what I want to have on the internet or Facebook or social media in general, because when you're tagged on something, it can show up even though it's not on your feed. It can still be there, sort of a thing. So we now not only need to govern ourselves, we also need to govern the people we associate ourselves with to ensure that our image and reputation is properly maintained. Now my final point is everything we do online leaves a digital footprint. Even if you remove it, it is somewhere on the internet still. I already knew this per se, but as a teacher, you start to think about it as, what happens when you Google your name? My name is technically a common name, so it's hard unless you put in like specific details like Brian Strong, Canada, University of Alberta, wherever I lived or whatever, to see what pops up. Now, I Googled myself and I didn't really find anything on myself on Google, and I'm now Googling myself. Again, the top 2 things that pop up with my name on it is, and where I lived in a specific city is LinkedIn and LinkedIn. That is all. Sort of a thing, and then they start to pull in the other demographics in regards to it. But that's just sort of, how the cookie crumbles, and that's sort of an aspect. However, other people have other things out there on the internet that if you Google someone's name, they may find out more about you, or things that one may have posted in the past that one may not want to have specifically revealed. So while my digital footprint is rather small, I'm sure that other people have a larger digital footprint. My digital footprint is basically Facebook, LinkedIn, my own website that I use for my own business, or even World of Warcraft. They have an online forum, online community. If people know your gamer name or even something in regards to that, people can still find information out about you or other things. So because it leaves some sort of mark or some sort of way to pull information back from about someone, this footprint and these little traces and muddy tracks or even positive tracks it could leave on the internet really ties into, we need to monitor what we do on the internet to ensure that we always leave a positive digital footprint, not a negative one. Furthermore, we also need to monitor what our students do, because you want your students and other people around you to have a positive digital footprint, because you start to look out for one another, and you want to ensure everyone has a positive future ahead of them and a way to land a good, secure, decent career, profession, job, whatever someone may be into. And sometimes that involves, ensuring students are leaving positive identities and footprints on the internet, and things like that. So, there's a lot of things this module has taught about me. To me, there's a lot of things this module I knew, but I would say as a teacher, it affected me to really ensure that I really govern myself and that in a proper manner, but that I also, need to educate myself more, other people, because the digital age is evolving every day and it's always changing, and we need to stay on top of it. We need to, be one step ahead of the game and one step ahead of the students. And then at that point, we also need to educate our students appropriately. And to sum this up, digital citizenship was a great module. It taught some relevant things. It exposed us to a little bit more of what would be expected of us and how to achieve that sort of an aspect. But in the same time, it also opened some students' eyes as, oh, maybe I shouldn't have this on Facebook. Oh, these college photos, university photos should not be on Facebook because it's of me partying, getting drunk, or acting like an idiot or a fool or whatever the circumstance may be. It demonstrated, for us all to come back to reality and says, will we do this, or would we, plaster this on us in person and walk around with it to see what people would respond to? You wouldn't want people to see this in the public, in essence, like just hand this out to random strangers. Why would one person put it on the internet? Because that's essentially what you're doing. You're allowing access to anyone to capture or to see into your life, and people don't realize what can be revealed through technology. In the same aspect that if you take a picture of the camera and your GPS is on and that address or whatever is attached to that photo, if someone gets that photo, it's very easy to grab that geographical information to find where you are if you're in a house. So it allows for this world to be open to where weirdos, creeps, pedophiles, sexual predators, where you don't want people to come after you. So you're now in a new era where you really, really, really need to ensure that you're protecting oneself, you're protecting others, and that you as a teacher, you as a student, you as a person, you in general are protecting yourself, others from harm, and ensuring anything you're doing or posting or acting upon in online and in person is done in a safe, ethical, and moral manner that one would expect of anybody. And the biggest thing is with digital technologies, treat others as you wish to be treated, and treat technology with respect and don't abuse it. If you treat it with respect, it'll be a more pleasant experience down the road than others. So there's a lot that I've learned, there's a lot this has affected me as, but I would say the biggest thing I took away as a teacher is, ensure you govern yourself accordingly, that you do represent that positive image so that you're acting as a positive role model for everybody, including your students, and as well as you're taking the precautions, the safety measures, and are respecting the technology in a positive manner that it reflects upon one in a good way, a positive way, and not in a negative way.